Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Wrestling Experience. My name is Earl Cole, and tonight, you've landed on this mothership. It's a thunderstorm and all kind of weather here in the Northeast, but tonight we're going to keep everything nice and dry and crisp and clean. We're going to give you the Wrestling Experience because tonight you landed on that mothership. You landed again on Planet Experience. Tonight, we're going to talk about Grand Slam Mexico. We're going to talk about, I have a rant about Mercedes Monet. We're going to talk about that. And of course, we're going to give you wrestling news. All of that and so much more. It's a potpourri of action. It's a potpourri of talk. It's a buffet of wrestling. And if you like wrestling conversations and you like analytics, well, then there is just no other planet you need to land on but the wrestling experience.
Never slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after.
All right, folks, and make sure that you smack down that like button. Make sure you smack down that like button. And of course, you subscribe. And of course, you share. Because when you share, you care. So, ladies and gentlemen, before we go any further, I'm going to introduce my panelists. Ladies and gentlemen, he's back. He is back for an encore presentation. He's back because I love this person so much that I respect his mind for wrestling, and I love having conversations with him. So please only welcome the one and only Hula Grimace Ellis Adams Alaska. Hula Grim, welcome
Okay,
to
there we go. There we go. Can you hear
us.
me?
Yes. Hula
How you
Grim,
doing, Earl?
welcome.
How you doing?
Welcome to the wrestling experience. Well, Hula Grim, we got a lot to talk about tonight. Well, first and foremost, like I said before, tonight on the menu, folks, we're going to talk about Grand Slam Mexico. I thought the show was fantastic. I thought the show was great. AEW really and truly hit it out of the park last night with this Grand Slam Mexico. But there was one thing that I just did not care for. And we're going to talk about that later on in this show. Um,
Earl, I didn't even watch the show, and I already know what you're going to talk about. I already know what you didn't like.
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, we're
I'm
going to
right
talk
along
about
with you.
that. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Okay, but let's start off with this breaking news. Ladies and gentlemen. This came on the airport today. There is a rumor that TKO Group Holdings is planning to sell the WWE. But those rumors have been dismissed. According to the Wrestling Observer, the company has strongly denied having any intention of selling the wrestling powerhouse company. Some of those rumors were even claimed by Vince McMahon by trying to say he's trying to buy back the WWE. However, the Observer noted that those reports have been strongly refused by a source close to the situation. They also noted that the sale doesn't make financial sense at this moment. Especially TKO has already saved the WWE between $2 million and $1.7 million in revenue. And their holdings is up $150 million by reducing the staff and merging WWE with UFC operations under one single umbrella, making WWE seem impossible for them right now to sell it. So TKO is saving WWE tons of money by doing things the smart way, by not doing house shows, by not doing just PLEs around the country, and by jumping up those ticket sales so that they can get in that revenue and make it back because they're not doing house shows. So that is what TKO's brainchild is doing at this time. So here's the thing. I knew that this was a rumor, but Vince McMahon wanting to get back to the WWE is another false rumor. WWE does not want Vince McMahon back into the organization. They don't need him to come back to the organization. They don't need this distraction right now. They do not need this distraction. We got a lot going on in the WWE tent right now. We got the Night of Champions. We got SummerSlam around the corner. We've got a WWE draft that's on the horizon. We also have other things that WWE is putting out that they're not telling the fans. But they will say this, though. WWE has already said that the fans, they're going to make some fans very, very happy with what they're coming up with and the decisions that they're going forward with. So I'm not sure what those plans are, but I guess we're gonna be coming to them very soon. Um, Ulvin, what do you think about all of this?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me back on. It's good to be
You're
here.
welcome.
Good to talk to you as always. I don't know if you saw me, but I was vibing out to your intro song. I really liked the songs that you were playing at the beginning, and then
Oh, thank you very much.
when you were doing your
Thank you.
intro, talking about landing on the mothership and being on Planet Experience, I was thinking about just the. I'd rather be on the Planet Wrestling Experience than whatever planet we currently reside with all the craziness that's been going on the last few days or so. But to get back on to the topic of wrestling and what's going on, I think the IWC really, if there's not something major happening, that everybody's talking about, I feel like we wake up on a random Thursday morning and somebody's just gotten a wild hair up their ass and decides to put out a story that TKO is selling WWE. And then everybody, like I saw TikTok right before we came on live. Um, and I don't know if he's a podcaster. I don't remember the name of the TikTok page, but I don't know if he's a podcaster or a radio disc jockey. He was saying that he has it on good authority that Hulk Hogan's in the hospital and that it doesn't look good. Now, how credible that is, I don't know. But I thought we live in this time where you can just say pretty much whatever you want to say and broadcast it out to the entire world. And we don't know if any of it's true or not. You know what I mean? So I woke up this morning and saw that article about TKO possibly selling to WWE, and I already knew, like, why would they do that? They haven't made enough money off of buying WWE yet in order to just turn around and sell it. Unless they would make like a substantial profit, who are they going to sell it to that's bigger than Endeavor? You know what I mean? Who's going to buy the WWE?
Right.
Vince don't have that kind of money anymore. I
No.
know he's got shares in TKO, but yeah, whatever.
Which, by the way, his shares were sold. By the way, just so everybody know. Um, just to make crystal clear that they did not want any part of Vince McMahon in the WWE fabric.
I thought I
They
read the other day
they
that he still has a third of the shares left.
he doesn't have a third. I think it's less than a third of shares that he does have in the WWE.
Hmm.
I don't know if the rest of it was sold or not, but I know that Vince McMahon had to pawn off some of those shares because he's still with this law, even though he has been dropped from this lawsuit with Janelle Grant. I believe Janelle Grant herself is still going after Vince McMahon, even though there will not be a trial. But I have a feeling that she wants some kind of retribution from Vince McMahon and
Hmm.
everything else. So I'm not quite sure what that's going to happen here. Um, Jeffrey says, I heard about Hogan thing and it's debunked. Yeah, I kind of knew about that, Jeffrey, too.
Oh, did you?
And Jeffrey, how you doing? And thank you so much for your comment and read the like button. Make sure everybody smack down that like button. Um, so to get back to this story, to get back to this story, I again don't agree. I disagree with this story because, like Hooligan brilliantly said, we just got involved with TKO and we just got into the fabric of TKO and Endeavor. And I don't think because yeah, I don't think they want to sell the WWE right now because they are making a ton load of money. This organization, along with WWE's um, conjunctionary marriage is selling tickets like it was going out of style. They're making WWE what it is today. And the ticket sales and everything else and merch have all turned around because they kicked Mr. McMahon out of the company and turned everything around and they made a profit. Yes, they had to do a lot of releases. Yes, they had to fire some people. And yes, they had to turn things around. But look, listen, this unfortunately, this is what business has to do in order to survive. They have to do these things. They have to do these things. And some of us may not agree with it, but if you look at it from a business standpoint, they have to do something to survive because if they don't, they're going to go under. They will fold eventually if those ticket sales didn't come back up, if those butts were not in seats, the WWE would be dead. They would be dead. And I'm being perfectly honest with you. They would be dead because there would be no way that TKO would want to touch that. There'd be no way that they want to touch that if the WWE went back to the old way, like Vince McMahon did, and with the whack booking and the poor thing. They wouldn't survive. They just wouldn't. So they have to do something. They needed a life preserver, and that
Yeah.
was TKO. So they needed that juggernaut. They needed that help, and
Well, and
that's the truth.
like we're about to have our first ever 2 night SummerSlam. Like you said, ticket
Yes.
sales have been. I mean, the the money that they've turned over already since Vince left alone has got to be. It just doesn't make sense why they would just sell right now, halfway through the year, when they just started the partnership with Netflix. They, uh, yeah, I get that WWE is a global brand and a big name worldwide and stuff, but I don't think that a lot of what's happening now happens without Endeavor behind the WWE. And another thing that they're doing, I've noticed the last couple of night PLEs that WWE's put on, they've been in conjuncture with this on the same night as a UFC pay-per-view. So that's why I couldn't figure out why did they move the pay-per-views an hour earlier? Why are they doing them at 4 p.m. Pacific time now instead of 5 p.m. Pacific? And then I realized that's so it can be over by the time the UFC main card starts, and then you can just switch over to UFC and watch the UFC. So they're doing things with the WWE, and I think it's flowing pretty nicely, regardless of how you feel about the merger of the two entities becoming TKO. As soon as I read that this morning, I knew it was BS.
Yeah, I kind of knew. Jeffrey said TK just bought WWE. Why would they lose all that money they invested in to leave WWE? Dro, how's it going, Dro? How's it going, Dro? And smash that like button, Dro. Thank you so much. Yeah, like I said before, I'll say it again. I don't think WWE would sell anything. I don't think the WWE, they like the partnership with TKO. They like the stuff with Endeavor. Endeavor is not playing around here. They're not playing around, and WWE knows that. They know that they have the answer to them at the end of the day. They got board members, they have brass, and they have to answer to them. So they have to show what they need to show, and it better be solid. So that's it. That's just the bottom line. That's just the bottom line. That is just the bottom line. So that's the story on that. That is the story on that. All right.
Jeffrey,
Let's talk about
The Rock isn't the head of the TKO board. He's just a member of the board.
right. Yeah, Jeffrey, he's just a member of the board. But thank you so much for your comment.
Along with
He's not
Nick Khan is a member of the board.
yes,
Ari Emanuel's, I would believe would be the head of the board of TKO. I'm pretty sure it's his
right.
company. But
Exactly.
the three of them are thick as thieves. So The Rock definitely
Right.
probably has a lot of pull and a lot of say so being a member of the board, I would assume.
And most of the decisions do go funnel through that board.
Because at first,
And
when TKO acquired WWE, it was Ari Emanuel and Vince McMahon, and then they showed on the other side was Dana White, and it was the three of them. Dana White's also on the board, by the way, of
Rally, how's it
TKO.
going? Yeah, I'm sorry,
So
Hooligan. Go ahead.
no, you're good, you're good. So it started out with the three, Vince, Ari Emanuel, and Dana White, and then obviously Vince had to be removed, and they just replaced The Rock with Vince. So The Rock is pretty much just sitting in Vince's seat,
Right.
probably getting funneled whatever Vince's input is going through The Rock's ear, and The Rock is relaying Vince's information to Ari Emanuel, whoever. I wouldn't even be surprised if Vince still communicates with Ari Emanuel on a daily basis. So Vince is still lurking around, but
Yeah.
there's no reason for TKO at this moment, I don't think, to even consider selling WWE unless some corporation, some entity offered them, like $1 trillion or like $50 billion or just some
Right.
astronomical amount of money, which I don't think
Exactly.
anybody's going to do.
No. And another thing too is that, as I said before in the beginning of this conversation, they're making money on WWE. They're making money in overfoot this company, and all of their decisions do come through that board. They do come through that board, except when it comes to releasing talent and stuff like that. That falls on Triple H and Nick Khan. That falls on them. That falls on them. But other than that, they gotta pass all of that stuff up to the board.
Yeah.
So that's what's happening here. One Jeffrey said, Emmanuel, Nick Khan, and Dwayne Johnson, those some heavy hitters. Yes, they are heavy hitters. Yes, they are. And just to let everybody know, the last time I was in Madison Square Garden for a house show, they were all there. They were all there
Well, in
in
the
the
last
box.
3 PLEs, I've seen Nick Khan sitting right at the corner at the end of the ramp on the left
Yep.
side with his son. He's
Yes.
sitting
Yep.
there up front row and center at every PLE.
Yep. But the last time I was in the house show in the Madison Square Garden, all three of them were there, including Ari Emanuel. They were all sitting in the garden. They were sitting right in the box. They were sitting in their box and they were looking at the event and they were looking at, and you can tell from their eyes, they were looking at seats and how many is being filled up in here tonight. And you can see once the crowd filled up the place, Once the house show got underway and they filled up that place, they were smiling. Everybody was having a good time, including them in the box. So I'm telling you, folks, I'm telling you, that's what they're looking for. That's what they're looking for. All right, let's talk about Tony Khan for a second.
Oh, God
Oh, okay,
Almighty.
okay. All right. Here's a story on Tony Khan. All right.
Oh boy.
There is a rumor. There is a rumor that this week on June the 25th episode of Dynamite in Kent, Washington might be turned into a 4-hour block programming in order for Collision to avoid airing on June 28th because of the Night of
They're gonna
Champions.
do another 4-hour block.
Yeah, if another 4-hour block, if another 4-hour block of the AEW wrestling is called for, it's too damn long for you to handle. One reader said in Twitter. In some good news, it turns out that Collision indeed will be moving off the 28th, but it will air on Thursday night instead on June the 26th instead of Dynamite that Wednesday. So what they're going to do is what they're going to do. Oh, we lost Hologram. We lost Hologram. Okay. Um. What did Jeffrey say? Stephanie's been in the front row too. Yes, yes, Jeffrey. Yes, she has. Yes, she has. Yes, she has. I've seen Stephanie. Hologram could give two. Yes, yes, that's right. 4 hours is too long. Exactly, exactly. What happened to your hologram? Uh, we lost him because you mentioned TK. Yeah, I think that's what happened to hologram. All right. We hope to get hologram back. We hope to get him back. I'm here, Earl. Oh, let's see. Oh, okay. Let's add to the. Oh, okay. There we go. There we go. All right. All right, folks. All right. So getting back to the story. Getting back to the story. Okay. So it looks like Dynamite and Collision will be sharing back-to-back nights. So it looks like we're going to see Dynamite live on Wednesday, and then we're going to see Collision on the next night, which is Thursday night. This is fine. That's fine by me. That's fine. That's fine. You get 2 hours on Thursday night. You get 2 hours on Wednesday night. That's fine. Split the time up that way. And Tony Khan has already said that he does not want to go up against the Night of Champions, which will happen at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, by the way, in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. And I will be on the air with the Night of Champions at 12:50. We're going to get that going on Saturday night, on Saturday afternoon, rather. Um, so again, like I said before, I say it again, I have no issues with this. I have no issues with this whatsoever because, um, let me just say something. See what TK does. He loses people. Yes, against Jeffrey. He does. He does lose people. He does. That's the kind of personality he has. Um, so I don't have any problems with this whatsoever. I don't have any issues with this whatsoever. I don't know, Hooligan, what do you think?
Um, regarding what?
Um, regarding this dynamite and collision thing
I think it's
and being
terrible.
on Thursday.
I
Okay.
think it's. Oh, it's gonna be on Thursday.
Yeah.
Why not Wednesday?
Well, because somebody complained on Twitter that it was too long. That 4 hours is too long. So what they're saying here is Dave Meltzer says that Collision would is being taped on Wednesday, the 25th, along with Dynamite, and then the next night
They'll show
on
Collision.
yeah.
Yeah, that's better. I think that's better than doing 4 hours of. wrestling on a Wednesday night in Kent, Washington. It was bad enough when they did Summer Blockbuster here in Portland last week.
Right.
Kent,
Okay.
Washington. They're gonna get where in the hell are they even having a show in Kent, Washington that's gonna turn out more than 2,000 people? What a waste of time and money. The amount of
Yeah,
money that
well,
AEW is pumping out to put on these shows for these tiny crowds, they can't be turning a profit. There's no way.
well, I don't. You're gonna have to talk to Tony Khan. Um, but that's what Tony Khan is doing. That's what Tony
Because
Khan
all Tony Khan does
is.
is talk. He just talks circles. He doesn't even know what he's saying himself half the time. He just speaks
No.
gibberish.
Yeah. So,
All these
um,
reports come out about how all the numbers of AEW are down and the viewership's down and the cable ratings are down, and then he gets on a freaking live stream yesterday and talks about how it's been AEW's best year. Uh, In terms of what? Losing money? Losing your fan base? Or what does he mean it's been AEW's best year? Best year for what?
I don't know.
Doesn't
I
make no
don't.
sense.
I mean, he doesn't want to address the problem. He doesn't want to address it.
But
So
then
he
Will Ospreay
dresses.
gets on the air in a promo in the ring and talks about how AEW sucks because of John Moxley. So I think if the wrestlers are saying that the product sucks in promos, I think maybe Tony Khan should take some interview time and discuss some of the elephants in the room instead of just pretend like they don't exist. Because he just makes himself look goofier and goofier as the weeks go by.
Right.
And now nobody
He's
takes him
not.
seriously. So,
Right. As I said before, he's not addressing it.
and he's
He won't. He
losing
won't
people's
address.
respect.
Yeah. He's not addressing it, and he refused. So I just take AEW now. It is what it is. It is what it is, and that's the best I could. That's the best attitude that I can take. Um, and get that champion. Yeah. Well. Yeah. We're going to talk about all of that. We're going to talk about that, Jeffrey, in a minute. All right. Here's another thing that Tony Khan has an issue with. AEW All In. All right. As you all know, ladies, and as you all know, everyone, AEW All In is going to happen on Saturday, July the 12th on pay per view. Now, originally, this show was supposed to be 8 Eastern, 4 Pacific. Because of Saturday night's main event, Tony Khan had to push the dial up, and he had to make the pay per view start at 3 p.m. Now on the now now now, so the pay per view is going to start at 3 o'clock. The pay per view is going to start at 3. But here's the problem that I have. Here's the problem that I have. We got 3 other wrestling shows on the same day. All right. We got 3 of them. So we have All In on pay per view. We have the Great American Bash, okay, and we have Saturday night's main event. So all of these shows will be taking place on the same day. Now, the Great American Bash, I believe, was going to start at the same time as Tony Khan's pay per view, which would be at 3 o'clock. Because we have Saturday night's main event at 8 o'clock.
I believe also a UFC pay per view is on that same night as well.
So all of this is happening in the same day. That's a lot of wrestling. And somebody asked me, they said, Earl, what are you gonna cover? And I said, well, first of all, I can't do the Great American Bash. So that's out. I'm not doing that. I will do All In. I will do All In. I will do All In. And it's going to be a long show because it'll probably end sometime around 7:30, pushing 8 o'clock, somewhere in that neighborhood. That's probably when it will end. Which means that then I'll have to switch over because I'm going to be doing Saturday night's main event.
I'll probably
So,
be covering Great American Bash.
so So that's a lot of wrestling on one given day. So
I'm not about to
yeah,
tune in to watch.
Logan James, how's it going? Thank you so much for your comment. One episode, if EO Sky starts collecting belts in different promotions, I'm sure some fans will still get mad, even if it helps reintroduce amazing promotions, just like what Mercedes did. Well,
No, I
well,
don't agree with that.
I don't know about that, James. I mean, I agree. I mean, thank you for your comment. I greatly appreciate it. I know you're a fan of Mercedes. We're going to talk about that in a minute. He's
I don't
nervous
agree with that
getting
at all because it's not. It wouldn't be the same situation as what's going on with Mercedes.
right,
Mercedes isn't bringing attention and awareness to all these other promotions by having their belts. She's hot.
right,
She's hogging them here on American television, and it's not drawing any attention to these other promotions because they're not promoting these other promotions.
right. Jeffrey says he's getting nervous going after the Great American Bash and Saturday Night. Yeah, well, and gets that champion. Yeah, okay, I read that. Okay.
And if Io
Uh,
Sky were to be collecting belts, to the gentleman's
yeah.
previous comment, if Io Sky were collecting belts in the same way Mercedes Monet has done so,
Right,
that wouldn't be a good thing either. If I know she's having matches in the promotions and defending or going after titles. I get all that, but this is not. This isn't. Don't be blinded. This isn't being done to bring awareness to the other promotions. This is stat padding Mercedes Monet's ego fueled career.
yeah. Jeffrey said, Earl, I hope you have a lot of voice mints for that July date on July. Yeah, well, I'm gonna have a lot of, yeah. Tommy, how's it going, Tommy? How's it going, Tommy? How did you do in the Olympics, Tommy? Thank you so much for your comment. Hit the like button, everyone in the chat. Everyone in the chat, hit the like button. Thank you so much.
Or press it.
Um, or press it, or elbow smash it, or elbow smash it, or smack down the like button, whatever you like. Um, okay, so let's just get back to the story. Let's just get back to this a second. Okay, so we got all of that going on the 12th of July.
Yeah, it's a
I'm gonna
lot.
call. I'm gonna be doing All In, and then I'm going to be going into Saturday night's main event. We're all going to do that. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to create one stream for both shows. As soon as the pay per view is over for All In, then we're going to go into Saturday night's main event. Uh, so what did Tommy say? I got the gold medal in the 100 walk and silver shot. Oh, congratulations,
Oh
Tommy! That's
yeah,
fantastic. That's
yeah.
badass. That's badass. Congratulations, Tommy, on doing that. Um, so
Shit.
so getting back to this. All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room here, Mercedes Monet.
Oh
All
boy,
right, all right.
I
Let's
thought we'd
talk
never
about
get
this
here.
with. Oh no, we're gonna get it now. Last night, last night, we had AEW's Grand Slam Mexico. Now, for the last couple of months, AEW had never mentioned, listen to me carefully, they never mentioned once, not even once, on Dynamite that this show was sold out, even before the card was announced. This show was sold out. It's been sold out for weeks. And the AEW never addressed it or announced that they sell out Arena Mexico. All right. They finally come to Dynamite last night, and we finally came out of their mouths that they did sell out the arena, and
Do you
they
know why?
did.
I'll tell you why.
Yes,
Tony
Lou.
Khan, because probably a couple hours before the show, Tony Khan purchased all the remaining seats to the show.
No, no hooligan. No, no, no. That's not exactly what happened.
He probably stood
Tickets
out on the
went
street
on.
corner and handed them out for free to everybody.
Well, no. What happened was this hooligan. The show sold out. The show did sell out
Oh,
legitimately. It did sell out legitimately in 2 days. The tickets were gone in 2 days. People
okay.
gobbled up those seats in 2 days. We had 16,500 people that sold out the Arena Mexico.
People in
All
Mexico have that
right.
much money?
Yeah, well, they like their wrestling, and when you built it, they will come. So, so Tony Khan last night did the Grand Slam. All right. The matches were fine. The matches were okay. The show was great. I gave the show a solid B. I gave the show a solid B. And what I really liked was when Hangman Adam Page did a promo in Spanish. He did the
Yeah.
entire promo in Spanish. And I thought that that was a very classy move by Hangman. I thought that was very nice of him to do that to the crowd and address it. We got some high flying action last night. We got some luchador action. Um, MJF's match was pretty decent until he got disqualified. And everything else. So let me just address the chat for a second and see what's going on. Um, yeah, yes, Jeffrey, I was pissed. Yes. You're welcome, Tommy. Okay. And let's see what else is okay. Let's see, let me just scroll up. Yeah, what Tommy says, no more like mistake. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Hey Earl, not to be nitpicker, well, who are you talking to? Oh, Tommy, I'm talking about Mercedes Benay. I'm talking about Mercedes Benay. Mystico was the one in this was over in his country. Yes, he was. Mystico got a huge ovation last night in Mexico.
Who did?
Mystico.
Oh, did
He
he?
was yeah, former Sin Cara. He
Sin
used to be
Cara.
Sin Cara. He used to be Sin Cara
He was
in
the original Sin
WWE.
Cara
Yes, in WWE.
before
Um,
WWE wanted to have like 30 different Sin Caras for whatever weird
right.
reason.
Tommy, he's talking to yeah, I'm talking to Hooligan, Tommy. Um,
Sorry, I'll be back on camera in a second. I had to feed my dog and do some other random stuff
no,
while
no,
we're.
that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. Take your time. That's okay. Um, all right, so let's just talk about this for a second. No, no, the guy on my right. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's Hologram
that's
Tommy. That's
me. I'm
Hologram.
Hologram. I've got my
Yeah,
camera turned off for a minute. I'll be
yeah,
back on in a
that's
second.
yeah. Oh, okay, thank you. Yes, Tommy, that's what I'm talking to. Um, okay, so let's talk about this for a second. Zeus took on Mercedes Benet. Now, this is what I've learned behind this. And this has been really terrible.
Hmm.
Between John Moxley and Mercedes Benet, Tony Khan has given both of them creative control of their characters, which means that they could do whatever they want in their booking,
They're
which
booking
I
the
don't.
stories we're getting basically.
Yeah, well, I'm not a fan of this.
No,
I'm not
nobody
a
is.
fan of this. I'm not a fan of this, and I'm very upset with this. And I don't respect both of them as champions. I just
Me,
don't.
me either.
Yeah, because I cannot sit here as a wrestling fan and condone these kinds of maneuvers that they're doing here. Mercedes
Uh,
Monet does not need six championships around her waist.
do you know what the thing about
Last
it is,
night,
Earl? It's uncalled for, and especially for Mercedes Monet. And I don't mean to cut you off. I'll let you finish your point. I just need to say real quick, like it's uncalled for. She knows what she's doing ain't right.
I mean, this is ridiculous. This is becoming ridiculous. And now she's going to take on Tony Storm and All In. Don't you dare, Tony Khan, allow allow her to win that title over Tony Storm. Because I'm going to tell you this right now, and I'm going to make this perfectly crystal clear. If I see a title change at all, and I'm done with AEW, I'm done. I'm finished. I won't cover this company anymore because you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're doing, and this is the problem that I have. This is the problem that I have. Yes, Tommy. Yeah.
Like this goes
I
beyond
this is
ruining the women's division. She's putting a
yeah.
bad stamp on this the only other alternative to WWE we really have in this country, all because she's trying desperately to prove this ain't for her. This she's not even doing this for her. She's doing this to try to prove a point to Vince McMahon. That's what this is all
Yeah,
being done for.
yeah, but this is ridiculous. So she pins Zeus's last night, and she becomes a CMLL women's
Jesus
champion.
Christ.
I mean, how much? How? And then she looks shocked on camera that she won the match. You knew that you were going to win the damn thing. You already had that in the plan. It was in the books.
It's in her contract
So,
when she signed with AEW.
I mean, she's becoming the Charlotte Flair of AEW.
Becoming, she is.
I mean, yeah, but yeah, wrong words.
She already is the Charlotte Flair of AEW. It's terrible. It's terrible creative. I don't know why Tony's
Uh,
allowed it. I don't know. And you know what? Here's the thing. I used to be Mercedes Moné was probably my favorite female wrestler up until the day she wrestled Stephanie Vaquer. When she wrestled Stephanie Vaquer, it made me see the perception of Mercedes Moné and her collecting the New Japan titles and stuff that she had had on her way into AEW. Um, I really was like, holy shit! Not only is Stephanie a better wrestler, I mean, she wrestled circles around Mercedes Moné, even though she lost. It just made me start paying attention to other female wrestlers more than I was, like a Io Sky, like a lot of the young talent coming up in NXT right now. I'd venture to say that I wouldn't even put Mercedes Moné in the top three currently.
well, I'm gonna just say this, and what was it? Tommy says if anyone is a fan of the Pittsburgh Pirates, they're leading 4-2 in the. Oh, okay. Thank you, Tommy, for that. Thank you. I hear TK doesn't want her to lose. Well, I'm gonna tell you this much. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this on record. I'm gonna say this on record. If I see her defeat Tony Storm at all, I'm done with AEW. I'm done.
I think
I'm done.
everybody thinks that she's gonna beat her just because she's hogging all the belts, but I have a feeling that they're going to try to swerve us a little bit and have Tony Storm win because then that sets up if Mercedes Moné beats Tony Storm with all these other belts she's holding, I don't. They can do something to book a rematch, like they can give Tony Storm a rematch, but I don't. I think the rematch looks more believable if Tony retains the belt and then Mercedes, says, "Hey, I want another crack at it."
Well, I don't think she deserves it.
I don't either,
I don't
but
think she do. I don't think she deserves, and she didn't deserve to win last night. She didn't deserve it. I mean, this was just absolutely ridiculous. You embarrassed this woman in front of a home crowd of Mexico to strip her of the title to give this woman another title. That's disgusting, Tony Khan. That is absolutely ridiculous. I was so mad last night, I was spitting fire. I could not believe what I saw. I mean, this woman doesn't need no more, and I don't respect her anymore. I cannot. I mean, if you all like her and you like what she's
I
doing,
used to.
that's fine.
But I quit
That's
respecting her a long time ago. With this
um
whole hogging the spotlight. Where's Athena?
yeah.
Athena's not on All In.
Mercedes
I thought
is
we were
good
I thought we
mother
were going towards at one point didn't we
is
see
mother
Mercedes
of
in the
the
ring with
belt.
Athena, Earl?
She's obsessed with what was that hologram?
At one point earlier this year, I swear we saw Athena in the ring with Mercedes, and I thought we were building towards a program with Athena versus
Yeah, we did. We
Mercedes at
did.
All
It
In.
was just yeah, it was a one off. Um
I'm pretty sure they talked about Athena versus Mercedes Monet at All In at the very beginnings when they started talking about All In, and I don't know what happened and what changed that, but um,
Yeah, Mercedes
Athena's been
is.
ROH champion for over 1,000 days.
I think so. I think.
How much
Tommy said
recognition is she getting for that? That's got to be one of the longest female championship runs of all time.
exactly.
Why is Athena not
Uh,
being blasted everywhere and shown everywhere and put on every show and getting to collect all these belts from all
I
these other
don't.
promotions?
I don't. Tommy says Mercedes is the Mercedes is the god of belts. She is
Oh
obsessed with
God.
belts.
Okay.
Yeah, well, yeah, okay. Okay, Tommy.
We got us a Mercedes fan in here.
Okay.
I mean, to each their own. I'm not
Using
knocking
every
it.
cuss words in the cuss book, Earl. Yeah, well, yeah, I did, Tommy. I mean, that was just yeah, one off. Yep. All right. TK doesn't care about yeah, you're right about that. He don't care about Ring of Honor. Um,
Why does he even have
so
Ring of Honor?
I don't know. I don't know to say he bought it. Um,
Just so
and
WWE
Tommy's
couldn't use the library. That's why.
yeah. By the way, Earl, I'm going to have surgery on my shoulders. It's in there, double calcium buildup. I'm not sure. I don't know when the surgery will. Oh, Tommy, I hope you get better. Hope you feel better by that. I'm so sorry to hear that you have that shoulder surgery. Get better soon, Tommy, and get back on the mend. But getting back to Mercedes Monet, um, here's the thing, folks. I don't respect her as a champion anymore. I don't respect Moxley, and I think TK. I think Tony Khan has made a mistake here in allowing these two monsters to do creative control. He needs to take back the creative and fix this because this is ridiculous. We cannot keep having Moxley put the championship in a briefcase and carrying it around like it's some secret jewel or
Nobody's
something
seen it.
like that.
It's been almost a year. Can you believe that? It's been
But
like
here's
9 months
something,
since anybody's seen the actual championship.
yeah. I mean, I
It's
mean,
insane.
again, like I said, I'm going to go on the record and saying this. If I see Mercedes Monet defeat Tony Storm and All In, I am done with AEW after that. I will not cover AEW anymore because this is becoming ridiculous. Yeah, you're making a joke out of it.
A mockery.
Now you're making a mockery out of it, and I can't respect. I can't support that. To me I can't support it. She's becoming she. Well, I can't. I keep using the word become. She is a monster to deal with behind the scenes.
So
She really is. And for Tony Khan to sit there and Google eyes and fantasize and all this kind of stuff about her and give her whatever she wants, that's why WWE hung up the phone with her and did not bring her back. They didn't want her back because you know why? Because she was very demanding on Triple H and she was very demanding on Nick Khan and she was very demanding of TKO, and all three of them told her no. They told her absolutely not. You don't control anything. Yeah, we control.
so here's the
We'll
perception, right?
yes,
If you go back, 6 or 7 years, we're at a TV show in Brooklyn, as you're well familiar with, NXT Takeover
yeah,
Brooklyn 1, right?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we have this little old banger of a match between a couple of girls known as Bailey and Sasha Banks. Ends up going on to be probably the greatest women's match of all time in a lot of people's minds. It was definitely one for the history books. If you haven't seen that match, I highly recommend you go on YouTube and search it out because it literally will blow your mind. Now, all the years that have followed since that match, the perception was that Mercedes Monet was the best female wrestler for sure in the WWE, in most people's minds. And we've gotten it's been a handful of years, Earl, since we were at that point in wrestling history, and a lot of new talents come in. A lot of new talent is in WWE that's looking really good right now. The future of the women's division in WWE looks to be better than it ever has. And a lot of these girls I'm noticing, I pay attention when Mercedes is on the microphone, and then you listen to a Stephanie Vaquer or a Sol Ruka or a Jada Parker. Mercedes Monet still has trouble cutting promos. Her promos are awkward. She stammers over her words a lot. Um, she doesn't seem very. It's almost like not confidence that she exudes when she's cutting a promo. It's like this fake cockiness. Like she's trying to look like a boss, but it's coming off as very forced and cringy to me. And for the last year or so, I've been sitting here going, wow, I'm even watching her in ring work and she's not having good matches with anybody. And I'm like, I think we've seen the best days of Mercedes Monet, to be honest. And I think she used that Brooklyn Takeover match to parlay, a deal in AEW that's gotten her taking every major women's title from every promotion for whatever reason.
Hmm.
I'm not sure why this is being allowed. Um, but it's a detriment to the females and the women of professional wrestling all over that aren't in WWE. This doesn't affect WWE any, but it affects all of the indie promotions that she's taking the belts from and all of their talent, and it's affecting the way people perceive her, and it's affecting the way people perceive AEW as a whole, and it's not good. I've not seen anybody tweeting positive things about all these belts that she's collecting.
No, because the thing is that it's becoming ridiculous now. It's a mockery, like you just said, Hulu. It's a mockery, and I'm for one, as a fan of mine, I'm fed up with it. She doesn't need us. When she won the title last night, I was spitting mad. I was like, Tony, what the fuck are you doing?
For real.
What are you doing?
I wonder if he knows what he's
What?
doing.
And what the hell are you doing? If I was sitting there in Gorilla and I was netting it and he called that man, I was like, no, come on, no. Have her go over. She can lose once in a while. Let her eat the pin. And then she look on camera like she's shocked she won. You all had that booked already, so don't even look stupid. You think people are dumb.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on. Come on
This
now.
girl. Go ahead.
I
Sorry.
wasn't shocked. I wasn't shocked at all. But like I said before, I say that I'm gonna say this again. I'm gonna say this again. I'm telling you, folks, if I see Earl go over Tony Storm on that match at all,
Urkel.
and well,
Did you call her Urkel?
no,
Oh,
no. If
sorry. I don't know
I
what you said. It sounded
see,
like you said Urkel. That's why I laughed. My fault.
I'm done with this company. No. No, Jeffrey said, "Yeah, I'm pissed, Jeffrey. You're absolutely right. Oh,
I
what is
feel
right?
one.
I really hate Mercedes in these promos. You know, you could tell when she's doing, but she stumbles. Yeah, well, yes, yes, and I think that she is a nice person. Well, I mean, I mean, gimmick wise, I mean, out of the gimmick character, I'm sure she is nice. But tell me, as a wrestler, she's not the end all to be all. She really isn't.
She's not all
And
that anymore. She's not as good as she
and
used to be, in
she's,
my
no,
opinion.
no, no, no. I'm done with it. I'm done with it. I'm not a fan of hers anymore. I used to be. I hated when she was released, but then now she's becoming this two-headed monster, and I cannot take somebody like that. I really cannot. And for her to hang on to these belts like the TBS championship and all this other stuff, she needs to start losing those belts. She needs to start losing those belts, and they need to do rematches with the people she defeated for those belts. That's what they need to do. And every time,
I
and
don't
I,
care if she has the TBS belt because she's in AEW. She needs to give back all the other promotions belts so those girls have. What are the other girls in these promotions fighting for now that she's walking around on AEW TV with all of their belts?
I mean, this is just ridiculous.
Doesn't make any
This
sense
is
to me.
ridiculous. Nothing makes sense that Tony Khan does anymore. Nothing.
Does he own
So
CMLL?
no.
I know he doesn't
I'm.
own New Japan, so it's like, what are these promoters allowing their titles to come to AEW for?
I have no
They,
idea.
they think that it's going to get
Partnership.
American audiences to watch their show. It's not.
I guess. Um. Tommy says I really have no respect of John Moxley and how he's becoming. Yeah. Well. He's a pain. Yeah. Something. Here's the thing with Moxley too. This whole thing with the Death Riders and Mercedes and Marina Shafir and the way they're booking him like Roman Reigns. They're booking Moxley like Roman Reigns with the briefcase and the title in the briefcase, and he wins on the same whack booking.
Yeah, he's a
The
tribal
referee
chief.
goes, yeah. Well, he's not no tribal chief in my eyes.
He's the
He's
AEW
something else.
tribal chief.
He's something else in my eyes, and I'm not going to say that. Not on this camera. Um, but I'm just tired of the way he wins his matches. They're lazy booking. There's no clean finishes in there. And then he comes back on AEW TV and he talks all these stupid, dumb, out of the box riddles that make no sense whatsoever. And he walks around with the briefcase like it was some kind of like $1 million in there. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
You did not win clean in the match. You had help, and you did not. It's just like when Roman Reigns was champion. You didn't smash nothing. You smashed no one. You have nothing in your repertoire. All you do is Superman punch in the spear, and your
Yeah.
friends come in and help. That's all you
Mhm.
have in your repertoire. That's it.
Repertoire.
There's nothing else. There's nothing else. So don't tell me that bullcrap. Don't tell me that. Because you're not selling me no bill of goods like that. Absolutely not. Um. So. So. Anyway, folks, that's my rant on Mercedes Monet. Um. Hey, girl. I'm back. I was just telling my friend about my surgery. Okay. Mm. Um. Sock 'em, poke 'em. Yeah. Yes, I forgot to. Yes. Tell me if you will. She's gonna be burned out with all. Yeah, she will. She will. The true. She's a nice person, but the character is becoming repetitive. Absolutely.
That theme song's got
Absolutely.
to go. That theme song has
Hey,
got to be changed.
did you? No, I didn't call her Urkel. No, I didn't say that. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go ahead and make a phone call. Well, I'll be right back. Okay, Tommy, go do your phone call.
Her theme song is
Uh,
atrocious. CE,
yeah,
no.
and yeah, exactly. If
See me
I see
out of
that
here.
Mercedes, if I see that Mercedes, I'm going to hit it with a bread basket. Uh, okay, all right, okay. Um, some folks that I mean, that was the only thing that I did not care for on Dynamite
Compared to her,
last night.
compared to Mercedes. Okay, let's do a quick comparison, real quick. When she left I can't even talk. When she left the WWE as Sasha Banks, she left
Mm-hmm.
with Naomi, right?
Mm-hmm.
Naomi ends up going to TNA.
That's
She
correct.
starts wrestling chicks like Jordan Grace and um, forgive me, I don't watch TNA, so I'm not familiar with much of their female women's roster. I don't know who else is over there. I think Indy Hartwell is over there. Anyway, she starts wrestling, you know, decent talent. Sasha Banks disappears. We don't see Sasha Banks again until she emerges as this Mercedes Monet character with all these belts, right? Like we get word that she's in New Japan and she's doing this and she's doing that, but there's not really much eyes going on what she's doing here in America. until she shows up in
Right.
AEW and has all these titles. Then she takes over the division pretty much since she walked in the door. Nobody can beat her. Nobody can win a title off of her. Um, she's taking everything from everybody, and then Naomi comes back to WWE, and look at what she's doing now. The two of them left because of the same exact issue, and then the career paths that both of them took. You would think that Mercedes Moné was going on to be the bigger star. I'd venture to say right now Naomi's the bigger star in pro wrestling than Mercedes Moné is. Pretty
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Naomi's done it the
I
right way. Naomi did it the right way.
exactly. Um. What did Jeffrey say? Diana Perrazzo. Yeah,
Thank
that's
you,
another one.
Deanna Purrazzo.
Um,
I couldn't think
I'm
of her name.
back. Oh, welcome back, Tommy. Oh,
Another
speaking of
woman that
Diana
TK hired that
Perrazzo,
we
she
saw like two times and then never to be
is
seen
doing
again.
all of it. Yeah,
What happened to Deanna
yeah,
Purrazzo on AEW TV?
yeah. That's a great question. That's a
She was
great
on a couple
question.
Dynamites, and then they moved her to Collision, and then I think they moved her to Ring of Honor, which means she's not on TV.
Right.
Well, now I don't even think she's. I think she's in TNA.
Mm. Well, folks, that 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 was AEW Grand Slam Mexico last night. As I said, the show was solid. Was a solid show. It was a solid outing by AEW, making their debut in Mexico. And not long far behind Tony Khan, WWE is set to make their mark on Mexico as well. They are doing some house shows in Mexico as well. So that was AEW Dynamite Mexico.
This is all I've seen of Grand Slam Mexico is this little logo behind me right here. I didn't watch a single
Well,
solitary
go back.
second.
You can go back and watch it.
No, you know
You
what? I'm not going
uh,
to, and here's why. Because I didn't hear one time Tony Khan. Now I know he did. He's been doing his thing with the luchadors for a long time, and we've all been making fun of it. And each week there's a new lucha mask that we got to figure out who the fuck this person is, and blah blah blah. I didn't hear Tony Khan say nothing about ever wanting to do a show in Mexico. And what just happened in what show did we get last week? Was it a little thing called Worlds Collide with WWE and AAA, right?
right.
And then all of a sudden 7 days later we have a Grand Slam Mexico.
Yep.
If you haven't
Yep.
seen Worlds Collide was an excellent show. There was only 5 matches on the entire card.
Right.
How many matches were on this Grand Slam Mexico? 12?
Uh, no, it wasn't 12. I would say maybe about 6.
Oh, because it was on. Oh, because it was on during Dynamite hours, so it was a only 2 hour show, right?
Right.
I might go back and watch it, but I just feel like they're just trying to copy whatever WWE does, bro, and it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah. Well, Tony Khan knew that WWE was going to do their tour in Mexico, and he made a decision that he wanted to debut in Mexico. So
I mean, that's fine,
that
but
was
why do it like 5 days after WWE did theirs?
well. Yeah. I mean,
It's just
ask Tony Khan. I mean,
you could have done it in
WWE.
July. You could have done it in September for Mexican Heritage Month when
Yeah,
they
I
have their
know,
Independence Day. You could have done it
but
then.
he wanted to do it, and he did. He sold it out, and it was a success. Even the crowd loved it. And what everybody was really popping for was after Dynamite went off the air. Apparently, Daniel Bryan showed up. Daniel Bryan showed up, and the crowd went bananas. And he did the yes chant and everything. So it looks like from what I saw in the viral video, Daniel Bryan looks like he's coming back to AEW. Looks like he's going to march his way back into the company. I don't
Well,
have a
we got
problem
his
with
wife
it.
and his fuck. Sorry, pardon my French. We got his wife and his sister-in-law back, so we might as well bring him back too, I guess.
Right. Okay, folks. Let's talk about WWE. We're going back to WWE, and we're going to be talking about Mr. Nick Khan. Okay. Nick Khan says on Stephanie McMahon's podcast, he says WWE books its shows for the universe. The WWE president Nick Khan was a guest on the latest episode of Stephanie McMahon's podcast, What's Your Story? They covered a ton of ground. And of course, the Wrestling Observer took some transcripts from it. So this is what Nick Khan said, excuse me. Um, he said, and I quote, Steph, I promise you this, I've never once searched for my name on X or any social media platform on Google. If it says something positive, it's no relevance to me. If they say something negative, it's no relevance to me. I love hearing that Paul says that to you. I know that you believe that ignorant comments on social media, and it's something we encourage our creative team and writers. Like, don't program that. Program for the universe, not for portions of the universe who want to criticize us. That doesn't matter. Move on. Put on a good product. The money will be there, and the fans will be there, and the results will be gold. So, this is what Nick Khan is saying. He says to Triple H, and he says to creative, and he says to all the bookers backstage, don't don't listen to social media, don't listen to the fans, and try not to try to drown out the radio noise of negativity toward WWE. Focus on the good things, and good things will happen. So look, listen, I've said this before and I'll say it again and I'll keep saying this. Yes, fans make wrestling and we are your investors, Nick Khan. Now, I agree with some of the things that Nick Khan is saying here, but half of the things I'm going to disagree with him with. If a fan is upset with WWE and they don't like the product and they don't like what's going on, they can voice their opinion because they're Americans. This is America. Okay. But at the same token, you cannot go on social media and threaten anybody on talent of WWE. You certainly can't threaten Triple H, and you certainly can't threaten Nick Khan, the president of WWE. You can't do that. That you cannot do. You can voice your displeasure, but don't do. You have to do it in a healthy way. And that is what Nick Khan. That's what Nick Khan is saying here. Um, okay, all right. So that is what Nick Khan said on Stephanie McMahon's show. He doesn't even look up his own name on the internet. He doesn't because he doesn't have time to sit there and read every comment that every fan is saying. He doesn't have time. Neither does the people in talent relations, and neither does the people that book WWE product. They don't have time to read those comments on thing. But Triple H does. He does read some of the comments. He looks through X. They said he does. He looks through X, and then he has somebody who he hires to look through the X account and see who's talking and who's chirping.
I think that's smart of
And
Triple H actually. It helps him keep the beat of the pulse of what's going on with the fan base, you know?
yeah,
And
well,
if you can tell, WWE's booking better. They're not perfect, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that they're the greatest, but they've been booking better matches, better programming more consistently this year than AEW has. But it's not even close.
right, exactly. That's because here's the thing. Even though Triple H says he doesn't like being held hostage by the fans when it comes to creative, I said this last week. I said this last week. Fans make wrestling, and we're investors. And the thing is that if we don't like something, if we don't like the product, we're gonna have to discuss it. We're going to have to say something about it. We can't just sit on our hands and not say anything. There are times where WWE has missed the ball on certain things. There are times where WWE has really hit the ball out of the ballpark. But I'm going to give Triple H some kudos here. First of all, since Triple H has taken over creative, we've seen some different matches. We see some different matches. The production has gone way out of the ballpark with that. The stuff with Netflix on Monday night has been highly successful. Ever since WWE has taken over Netflix, Raw has gotten a lot better in the consistency department when it comes to episodes. Some episodes are a little yin and yang, but for the most part, 90, I would say about 98% of the time, Raw has been solid. It has been solid. It hasn't been what it was way back in the days when McMahon had it. This has been focused on the episodes, the feuds, the pay-per-views, getting you to watch the pay-per-view and getting you to understand what's going on in the pay-per-view. And the build for the pay-per-view has been great so far. Even this Night of Champions has been good so far. Even the King and the Queen of the Ring build-up has been pretty good. So I'm gonna I'll give some flowers to Triple H. I'll give him some flowers. He's trying to do the best he can. You can't please everyone. You're not gonna please everyone, but at least for one thing, he is. I'm giving him his flowers because he really deserves to be. He really deserves those flowers because he turned this company around in the booking department, in the feud department, in every kind of department. He's checking off all of the boxes so far. There are just certain things that he dropped the ball with, like the R-Truth situation, and there are other things that he's not perfect at. But other than that, I have to give him some flowers for doing what he's doing so far with WWE. Um, and speaking of Deanna, what what is he? Yeah, okay, okay. I think we saw that. Um, Proceed with caution. Yes, yes, yes. Deanna's making the wrong decision in going in AEW. I knew it was one of the. Yeah, exactly, Jeffrey. Jeffrey said Deanna made the. Yeah, yeah, she did make the wrong decision. Maybe she should go to WWE. Maybe she'll do better. Um, Look at Camille disappeared. Yeah, Camille has disappeared too.
Well,
Yeah, could be.
guess where she is now?
So
Did you hear about that?
no.
Where Camille and
Uh,
Wardlow been hiding?
oh my goodness. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get to the bath and get ready to go to bed and brush my teeth.
Earl?
As you have yourself a good night and hope I see you again. Peace. Okay, good night, Tommy. Take care. And what did Jeffrey say? Just like the crowd can voice their opinions on the show. Absolutely. Um, Nick Khan was on WrestleMania 9 working with WWE. Oh, okay. Just like how the crowds can voice. Yeah. Okay. What were you saying, Hologram? I'm sorry.
Where Wardlow and Camille have been hiding?
Yeah. Where are they hiding? That's a great question.
Well, come to find out, they've been filming for a little TV show that we used to all know and love called American Gladiators.
Oh yeah, American. Isn't it the American Ninja Warriors?
No, they're coming back out with American Gladiators, and Camille and Wardlow are going to be two of the gladiators on that TV show.
Oh, okay. Well,
And who else from WWE is on that show? But that would explain why they're not on AEW television because there's some ex WWE. Oh, The Miz is going to be the host of American Gladiators. He's the host of the show. So there's speculation that because there is some cross promotion with talent on that show together, that would maybe explain why Tony Khan has just stopped booking Camille and Wardlow altogether.
Yeah, well,
Not going to say for sure. Can't say that for sure. Not, but it kind of fits the bill.
yeah. I would say so. Um, TK, damn pretty. It's yeah.
Wardlow will be booked better on
Um,
American Gladiators anyway.
the Miz, yeah, exactly. The
Ah.
Miz is the host. I heard about that. Yep. Where where are they? Yeah. Yes. Okay. So that's the story with Nick Khan. That's the scoop on Nick Khan. All right.
I'm surprised you still
Let's.
haven't mentioned. I'm waiting for you to mention somebody's name. I'm not gonna. I'll say later on if you haven't said it, but I'm surprised we haven't talked about this person yet. But maybe you're gonna next. I don't know.
Um, I'm not sure what you're talking about, but here's some news that I don't think you all heard of yet, and we're going to discuss it. It happened on Raw. It happened on Monday Night Raw this past Monday night. Liv Morgan
Oh, bless
suffered
her heart.
Liv Morgan suffered a debilitating injury.
A bad one.
She separated her shoulder and she messed up her labrum. So apparently she's going to be out 4 to 5 months. So what that
Yikes.
means is, yep. So what that means is that I believe the tag team titles will be cleared vacant. Um, it's unfortunate. It is unfortunate that that happened to Liv Morgan. But what really is upsetting, and even even a lot of WWE superstars brought out this point. Some of you fans were celebrating Liv's injury.
That's
Um,
crazy.
and I think that that is disgusting.
Yeah, that's foul.
For you all to do that to somebody and to cheer that she got injured and she was taken out of the arena last week on Raw, that was really disgusting and really not classy to you. The woman had a legitimate injury, and some of you all sat in the audience and you were cheering for that. So you cheer when someone gets injured severely like that. Let's say she broke her neck. God forbid she broke her neck. Then you gonna clap for that?
Imagine
You're gonna
people
clap.
cheering when Owen, rest his soul, fell from the sky, and we all know what happened with Owen. Imagine if we had social media then, and we were watching people talk about, in a celebratory fashion about that. Like,
Rhea Ripley got on the Twitter and she voiced her displeasure to the audience, and I
yeah,
applaud Rhea Ripley for doing it
same.
because this could happen to anybody. Wrestling is not ballet.
And if you go back and
Her,
watch, it was just a routine little over the
it
shoulder
was
body
shoulder. It
throw.
was
It
right.
was just it was not off the top rope. It was just a basic one of the most basic wrestling maneuvers you can do. And the way Liv Morgan just happened to land on her elbow, popped her shoulder right out of socket. It was just a little. She didn't land on her hands and knees at the same time. She kind of hit her knees first and then came down on her elbow. It was just a small little off timing little thing that wasn't even Kyrie Sane's fault. And and then people were
Well,
blasting Kyrie Sane because obviously in that
well,
moment you're
triple.
not really sure if the injury is legitimate or not, and then you see that they're walking Liv Morgan to the back. Well, there's a bunch of dead air because they're still on TV. Well, there's nothing going on in the ring, so Kyrie Sane starts doing her acrobatics, bouncing off the ropes and stuff, just to kind of, I guess, create something going on in the ring, so that there's not just dead air. And then I saw people going off and bashing Kyrie Sane and making fun of her, talking about what is this goofy hokiness and what did you want her to do?
I mean, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Triple H did
Yes,
speak to
Jeffrey.
Kyrie. What was what Jeffrey said? People need to stop. But yeah, I agree. I totally agree. It was a freak. Yes, it was a freak accident. Okay, here's the thing that happened before I get back to the chat. Here's the thing that happened. Her foot got tangled up with Kyrie Singh, and she went forward. All right. The audience, when they saw that happen, most of them got all over Kyrie Singh for doing it, and then half of the audience was clapping that she was injured. So the audience here is it's a bunch of really disgusting,
Yeah.
really disgusting behavior by the fans. And Triple H, for you to talk to Kyrie Singh behind the scenes and reprimand her was absolutely ridiculous. It wasn't her fault. It was an accident.
Hold on, Earl. What did
Uh,
you say? What happened?
Triple H took Kyrie Singh to the back when we went to commercial. Most of you don't know this, but I've heard this from multiple sources. Kyrie Singh was taken to the back by Triple H and had a talking to. Triple H got off Gorilla and talked to Kyrie Singh about what happened in the ring. And he told her he didn't want to see that happen again. I don't think it was her fault. I think it was an accident, and that's what everybody should do. Should take it as, and that's what Triple H should take it as. There's no need to
Oh,
dump
I
on her.
forgot. Now that Jeffrey's saying in the chat, I forgot that that's who Zoe Stark was wrestling when Zoe Stark just got injured a couple weeks ago
They
with
blamed
Kyrie
her for
Sane.
Zoe Stark injury. Yes. Yeah. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. You don't need to dump on Kyrie Singh. You all don't need to dump on her. It was an accident. It was an accident. Things happen. Things happen. She went to give her a toe hold. It didn't work out the way she wanted it, and the match was over, and she won the match because she couldn't continue. But for you all to dump on Kyrie and then you all laughing at Liv Morgan, that's ridiculous. You all are some
You know,
terrible people.
I want to just say quickly to because you had mentioned about the women's tag titles will probably be vacated. I don't think they necessarily need to, and here's why. Because I just had this thought. Finn Balor has interjected Roxanne Perez into the Judgment Day. Now, there's been tension already between, like, you can tell Liv Morgan's feeling some type of way now that this, little Latina Roxanne Perez, this little cute thing, has been interjected into the mix, who's getting the attention of Dom Dom, right? So, what they could do while she's out for the next 5, 6 months, if that's how, or however long she's out, they could have her do a similar situation like they did with Jade Cargill and Naomi and Bianca Belair, where Jade Cargill gets injured and Naomi steps in. They have a tag team title match. They win the titles back and they continue as tag team champions, Bianca and Naomi. They could do the same with Raquel and Roxanne Perez and have them be in a put up the NXT tag team titles, have Roxanne be the kind of stand-in wrestler for Liv Morgan since she's part of the same faction, and then they win the titles in that match, and then it's Raquel and Roxanne until Liv Morgan gets back, and then you've really got a situation on your hands because Liv Morgan technically is the women's tag team champion, but she got injured. Now you've got Roxanne with the belt. That just creates a whole new dynamic for them to feed off of even more tension within the faction. So I don't necessarily think
Yeah,
they have to vacate the women's tag titles.
yeah. I don't know what WWE is going to do here, but I agree with your assessment. I agree with the assessment, but we have to see what WWE is going to do here.
Yeah.
Because she cannot defend it within 30 days. So that's going to do it. What they're going to do with it, we're going to have to wait and see what's going to happen. But that would be an interesting conundrum. That would be interesting because both ladies don't like each other already. They don't like each other, and Raquel had already said that she has no business in Judgment Day. She has no business being there. Um, if they would have paired these two up, it would be like strange bedfellow booking. Because I don't think these two are going to get along as tag team champions if that's the road that they want to travel on. But I'm curious to see what's going to happen here. I'm very curious, and inquiring minds want to know. All right, all right.
But shout out to Liv Morgan. Hopefully
Yeah,
she
we wish
gets
Liv
better.
Morgan. Yeah, we
And
wish
I'm
Liv
saying this
Morgan the
as not
best.
the biggest Liv Morgan fan. She's not my
Liv
favorite. Now,
Morgan can be.
by no means, by no stretch of the imagination, do I think anything negative of Liv Morgan. But you never want to see anybody get injured, and for people celebrating her injury, those are just the kind of wrestling fans I don't want to be associated with. I don't want to interact with on Twitter. I don't want to talk to about wrestling. If you're the type of person that celebrates, even if it's somebody you actually hate that you can't stand, imagine if Jinder Mahal was still in the company as WWE champion and he took a really bad fall and got badly injured, and you celebrated that just because you can't stand the character that he plays on TV. It's like that situation. You just don't do it because that's a human being at the end of the day, and they're putting their body on the line, regardless of if you care for their character or not. They're still doing what they do for our entertainment. So you have to respect that on some level. And to cheer any superstar in the ring when they get injured is just fucking disgusting. Pardon my French.
Yeah, yeah, I no, I agree with you. Hold on. Listen, let me explain something to you all. You know, I'm a very compassionate person. I'm a very compassionate person. And when I see somebody down and out get injured or what, my heart breaks for them
Yes.
because it hurts. It sucks. It sucks when you get injured. It really sucks. And it just messes you up in the mindset because you're such on a high, and then when you get injured or you hurt yourself, and now you have to take two steps back and take care of yourself, and then people are sitting there and they're laughing and kikiing about it. I have no respect for you for doing that. I have no respect for you because you should not be laughing at anybody. You shouldn't be putting down anybody because you know what, folks? There's a thing called karma. There is a thing called karma. And I would not want that to be knocking on my door. So I would not sit there and laugh and kiki and carry on with some because I felt bad for her. I really did. The match was going fine until that happened. And you could see she was in pain. She was screaming when the shoulder came out. She was screaming in pain. She was not, and this was not part of a storyline like everybody carried on about. It wasn't a storyline, folks. This was real. This was real. And for you all to sit there and kiki about it and laughing at her in the audience, you should be ashamed of yourself. You should
I
be
agree.
ashamed of yourself. You should be a damn ashamed of yourself. Because God forbid it could happen to anybody.
They shouldn't be allowed at future wrestling shows.
No, absolutely not.
Like if you're a toxic fan to the point where yeah, you can boo people. That's your right as a somebody that as a patron that's purchased a ticket. You can cheer for who you want. You can boo for who you want. But if you understand that these wrestlers are putting their bodies on the line and you cheer certain talent that get injured because you don't care for them for whatever reason, there should be a
Yeah,
consequence that as a wrestling fan you should have to pay for that. You should not be allowed at any future shows where that person is on the active roster.
right. Exactly. And Jeffrey says, one of the most painful things for me is when a match is decided not by wrestling, but because of an injury. Also, step into the ring with the deep respect for any opponent. I train very hard. Yeah, I
That was
agree.
a post
But
that Kyrie Sane posted. That was a quote that Jeffrey posted from a
yeah,
Kyrie Sane tweet.
yeah. Liv Morgan can be injured. Yes, she can be. She can't come on WWE TV, right? Um. Okay. Uh. Part of what Kari posted. Yes. Um. And again, I like I said, I don't blame Kyrie Singh. I don't blame anybody. It was a freak accident, and you all need to respect that, and you all need to move up. But some of you all should be ashamed of yourselves. You really should be. And I wouldn't call you wrestling fans. I really wouldn't. I wouldn't label you as a wrestling fan. If that's the mentality that you have towards a human being getting injured. Um okay. All right. Let's talk about wrestling news for a second. Speaking of Liv Morgan, WrestleVotes Radio was told WWE ripped up the plans for Evolution 2 and its essential starting from scratch due to Liv Morgan's injury. Liv was planned for an important tag team match at the event, and there would be ripple effects on the rest of the card as WWE has to adjust it according to creative plans. So, because of Liv Morgan being injured, they have to start from scratch with the Evolution 2 card. Now, I'm
Uh-oh.
not sure. Now, I'm not sure what they're going to do here, but Liv Morgan was supposed to be a big piece of this plan, and unfortunately, that's not going to happen now. So now they have to start from scratch and come up with
This
something else.
this is where I think we might see what I just fantasy booked.
Yep,
I
we
wouldn't be
gotta find it.
surprised if they decide to just say, okay, we'll have a women's tag team title match. We'll use the Freebird rules in a sense to get Raquel and Roxanne to defend the titles, and then they can win them. They can win the match, and then you still have them and the titles in the Judgment Day faction. And then when Liv, whether they have her sporadically on TV throughout her injury or she doesn't come back until she's fully healed, when she does come back, you can bet money she's going to not be pleased to see Roxanne holding that title that she never lost with Raquel. And that's going to create even more tension between the two, which I'm sure is going
Right,
to delight Finn Balor to no end. He seems very
exactly,
happy with all this. He seems very happy just with all the little moves he's making within the Judgment Day as of late.
exactly. Jeffrey says, "What if Bella wins and Liv found out and she was pissed at Roxanne?" Well, that would be interesting to say none the least. It was supposed to be the Bella twins versus Liv and Raquel. Oh, I didn't know that. I did not know.
I,
Let's see anyone of those
I didn't
people
read that
take.
anywhere.
Yeah, no,
Who said it was supposed to be the Bellas? We haven't
I
even
don't
seen
know.
Brie Bella yet.
What if the Bell? Yeah, okay, I read that. Okay, so Jeffrey says it was supposed to be the Bella twins taking on Living Rock. Oh, okay. Um,
But they can
we're
still
gonna
do
have
the
to.
Bella twins, just with Raquel and Roxanne instead of Liv.
Well, we're gonna have to see what WWE is gonna cook up. They're in the drawing room right now talking about it, and we're gonna see what's gonna happen with Revolution very
Freebird
soon.
rule. Just like the New Day used
Uh,
to do. Because there was three New Day
right,
members. So sometimes it would be Xavier and Kofi, and then sometimes it would be Kofi and Big E, sometimes it would be Xavier and Big E. You just never knew.
right. As far as Vince McMahon's potential return to pro wrestling is concerned,
Ugh.
Undisputed Justin Barrasso mentioned the following. Speaking of wrestling off the record, there's a great deal of support from McMahon, as note that McMahon is still held in high regard. So apparently that he's still in high regard, and I use that in quotation marks. I don't think so. If Vince McMahon ever comes back and as a wrestling promotion, yours truly will not be supporting that, nor will I be watching that, nor will I even give a dollar, a dime, or even a nickel to his organization because Mr. McMahon in wrestling should not be mixed ever again. And back in his heyday, he was great at magic and creating things and doing things. But now he's becoming this maniacal pervert who just wants to parade women around in all sorts of clad underwear and he wants to be an old fart bag. So I'm not a fan of him and I don't want to see him touch wrestling again. No. No, he already got in trouble with the people backstage and the women and what he used to do to them. I don't want Vince McMahon nowhere near pro wrestling. But if you want to support him, if you want to support him, that's fine. I'm not going to trample on your thought process. You want to support him, then you go ahead. When he comes out with his new promotion, you you are free and welcome. You are an American citizen. You do whatever you want. You can go out there and support him. I don't have to do that, and I will not do that. No,
Vince
no, no,
McMahon is
no.
79 years old. He's going to turn 80 this summer on August 24th.
Yes, yes, yes. Um, right. Free bird rule. Yes. What did Jeffrey say? What? Yeah. Okay. Okay. What else did Jeffrey say? Um, he's gonna McMahon Wrestling Entertain. Yeah, he's gonna call it
WWE.
MWE. McMahon Wrestling Entertainment. You get the comment of the night, Jeffrey. Thank you so much. Like I said before, I say it again. I don't want to see Mr. McMahon nowhere near wrestling. No, 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 no. Absolutely not.
Yeah, no, I don't think it'd be good for the
Absolutely.
industry at this point.
No, no,
He's
absolutely not.
well past his prime. He's well past his creative mental best. He at
Yeah,
this point in life, once you get to 80, you're regressing mentally, you're regressing physically. Um, if you're fortunate enough to hit 80 years old in this lifetime, you're definitely, you're on the downward slope at that point. He's got a lot less time left than I think we probably even realize. And so to bring him back, and I heard that he's taken out patents and he's trying to make create his own promotion. And even if he creates his own new promotion, if you think it's going to be anything close to what he did with WWE, you're sadly mistaken. He's not going to be able to live long enough to see a new company, a new startup company, reach that level of fame worldwide like WWE. He's been building that thing since before I was born. You know what I mean? So yeah, Jeffrey, his
yeah,
best days are way behind him, 100%.
yeah. You're 100% right, Jeffrey. Mhm.
And the fans are not
This-
gonna. The fans are gonna revolt if he shows. If we see Vince McMahon's face on a WWE screen live on TV from here on out, the fans are going to absolutely. They're gonna be coming with pitchforks, with torches, with the whole cavalry is gonna show up, and it's not gonna be good.
Yeah. Um, no bueno for me.
The fans will revolt if Vince comes back. They will.
Yeah, they will. Yeah, they will. Um. Okay. Multiple sources told Barrasso a team of executives who's largely began leaving WWE in February 2024 are with McMahon for his new company, 14 and I.
Oh yeah, 14 and 9.
Okay. Well, good luck with that.
Yeah,
Good luck.
I won't be a patron. I won't be a subscriber, a watcher, a follower, an attender of the show. I will not be supporting Vince's new venture.
Nope. Nope. Somebody already asked me that, and my answer to that was no. No, I got my hands full with other things going on. I don't have time for Vince McMahon. Um,
That man took thousands of dollars from all of us over. If you've been watching wrestling as long as me and Earl have, I can't imagine how much the average person that's in our age bracket has spent on WWE in their lifetime. And most of that
right.
time, we went away from those shows feeling like our intelligence was insulted, feeling stupid for having paid money to watch a subpar product that Vince gave us for the better part of 2 decades. Um, why would any of us be willing to give that another chance? That he wasn't going to do that to us again? Yeah, right. You'd have to be a fool.
Right. I'd rather see Stephanie McMahon build a women's company than a. Yeah, well, yeah, I think that would be interesting. Build it from the ground up. Yeah, yep. What Jeffrey said. Yeah, his best days are behind him. You're absolutely right, Jeffrey. Jeffrey. Thank you for all your comments. Thank you to everyone that's in the chat. Make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe and you share and you like and everything else. I'm Earl Cole. Thank you very much for watching the Wrestling Experience. That is Ullagrim. And again, we're talking about wrestling news and in the headlines of what's in the airport. So we're going to continue with that. Okay, so that's the story of Vince McMahon. And then Brian Alvarez noted that TNA star Elijah or Elias was injured during the version of The Undertaker's old school rope walk spot during the match on NXT this week. It appears to be an elbow injury or maybe a torn tricep.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
okay.
Why is
So,
Elijah doing the Undertaker's rope walk move, the old school move, right? They call it old school,
yeah,
where he walks across the top rope to the middle and then jumps off and hammer fists the
right,
guy. Why
right.
is Elias doing an Undertaker, an iconic move that nobody should be doing other than if your name is Mark Calloway? That doesn't make
Right,
any sense to
exactly.
me.
Right. So apparently he must have either dislocated the elbow or he has a torn tricep.
He's Elias in WWE. He goes to TNA. They have to change his name because of copyright to Elijah. Just for him to be wrestling back in NXT as Elijah instead of Elias is the craziest. That's one of the craziest things I've seen in wrestling this year. I'm just like, okay.
I know, right?
I saw
Um,
that in TNA, Ariana Grace, which is Santino Marella's daughter. She had her last night as I think she was running TNA as like
right. I've
she was
seen
kind of in the
the
same she was in the same position that The Rock's daughter Ava Raine is in NXT. She was kind of was she the commissioner of TNA or what do you call it? The general manager of TNA? But I saw that she's done with
Oh,
TNA now.
okay.
And I still can't
Well,
believe we've gone all this way. We've been on live for an hour and 40 minutes and you still haven't brought up the biggest elephant in the room of this week in news, I feel. Let's talk about
and that.
Mr. Bill Goldberg.
Okay. All right. I'm glad that you. We did discuss this last week.
Oh, okay.
We did
But he
discuss
didn't show
this
up
one.
we showed up this week.
Okay, yeah. We did discuss this last week. All right. We did discuss this. All right. I said, okay, we're going to continue with the wrestling news in a minute. Just let me just dial this back for a second. All right. All right. So Goldberg comes out. All right. Let's talk about this Monday night. All right.
And he barely
Goldberg.
came out. He barely came out.
Well, okay. Gunther is in the ring. All right. Gunther cuts a promo. Everything's going all right. All of a sudden, Goldberg's music hits. All right. Goldberg comes out. And what happens to Mr. Goldberg? He was sweating like a box. He was so dripping wet by the time, and I'm about to tell you this much, he only got a quarter of the way to the ring. A quarter.
They didn't even show
Because
his
as
like
you,
normal full entrance. They didn't do the security in the back. They didn't do the walkthrough.
well,
Like he just showed
he
up
did the
there.
walkthrough. He did the walkthrough with the pyro. They did do that.
Oh,
He
I didn't see
did
that.
all of that. Yeah, he did do all of that. He did
I
all
didn't
of
see that
that.
on mine.
He did all of that. He kicked and the kicking and all of that stuff and the power went on. Yeah, he did all of that. But when he got a quarter of the way to the ring, he was already sweating like a box.
He limped the entire walk to the
And
ring
he lived it right exactly. And then he had to grab the ropes
and
and
hold his
stay in
balance.
the corner
Yeah,
to hold his balance and stay in the corner because he was out of breath.
and because his knees, he's got bum knees.
Right. And another thing too is the floor director. I don't know if you all saw this or not, but the floor director of WWE was sitting on the floor and had to roll the microphone to Goldberg because he could not get close enough to the person on the headset to give them the microphone. So they had to roll it to him to grab it so that he can have it. Um, so that was a problem. And then when the promo was over, from what I understand, when he jumped down, when he was jumping down off the edge of the ring apron, they said he hurt himself. They heard he hurt himself. I'm not sure what he did. I'm not sure what happened, but apparently they said he hurt himself. Um,
I'm not laughing that he hurt himself. I'm laughing because there was a report before he even was on Monday Night Raw. He had put out a tweet or said in an interview last week that if you might be seeing different ring gear on Goldberg in future matches. I took that as him meaning he's probably lost a lot of muscle mass and doesn't want to go shirtless anymore, right? He looked
I'm
smaller
not.
in size when he came out on Raw. He didn't look like the big old muscly jacked up Goldberg like he used to. And
My God,
um
he's going to be a disaster. Yeah, you know
he,
something, Jeffrey. You're absolutely right. The match is going to be a disaster.
he almost
Um,
killed the Undertaker when we saw him wrestle in Saudi Arabia
he's this.
a few years ago. What do you think
Yeah,
he's going to
he's.
do when he tries to scoop slam Gunther?
Okay, first of all, let me just dial this back. Let me just listen. If you all are Goldberg fans and you want to welcome that's fine. I'm not here to say that my way is the highway and you got to listen to me. No. If you like Goldberg and you're a fan of him and you think he's going to do great in this match, then that's fine. That's fine. I'm not here to trample on your thought process. I'm not here to tell you that you're wrong or whatever. I'm not here to do that. I'm not here to do that. I don't do that to people. So whatever you're thinking, whatever way you're thinking, if you don't think the same way I do, then that's fine. That's what makes the world go around. That's what makes the world go around. Difference of opinion. We agree to disagree.
I
But
have
here's the thing.
Go ahead. Sorry.
That's okay. Here's the thing. Here's the thing, folks. Here's the thing. This man. Okay, we have 4 weeks until we get to the 12th of July on Saturday night's main event. Okay, Goldberg needs to go back home in Atlanta where he lives and get himself in shape and get himself some stamina because this is going to be a physical, hard hitting affair with Gunther. Gunther, when he is on another level. And if Goldberg cannot match that intensity, he is going to be eaten alive. The man can't wrestle. The man is not going to last. And this is what I've been trying to tell people. This match is going to be a disaster. I can smell it a mile away. And don't even try to tell me that he's going to win the title over Gunther. That is not going to happen.
God, I hope not, man. Good
That
lord.
will that if that happens, and Triple H books the match like that. Oh, let me tell you something, folks. You thought Ron Killing's situation was something. Oh, this will be even worse. This will be even worse on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
This
The other
this
problem
ain't
I
going.
have is the whole illogical booking of the whole thing because on one hand, like
Shouldn't
I don't
it
know if
be?
you
Yes.
listen to Busted Open Radio at all?
I listened to it here, piecemeal, piece here.
Yeah, like I watched the little clips of it on YouTube, and I was watching Dave LaGreca the other day, and he made a good point about this shit show that is Goldberg. You've got John Cena right now, who's on his retirement tour, who, depending on what side of the fence you fall on, most people are on the side that it's not been the greatest heel turn for John Cena in his final year. That being said, he had to literally sell his soul to The Rock in order to get a championship match. And this is John Cena, who's now considered the greatest of all time in a lot of people's eyes. And then you've got Goldberg just walks in and they take the title off of Jey Uso to give to Gunther so that Goldberg can come in and go, "You're next." And that's all he's got to do to get a title shot? How did John Cena have to sell his soul to The Rock to get a title shot? And Goldberg can just walk in whenever he wants and go, "Yeah, I'm going to
Well,
wrestle if you want."
that's what I'm talking about, Ulagrim. That's what I'm talking about. This match makes no sense to me.
None.
I mean, okay, if you wanted Goldberg to take on Gunther, all you had to do was have Goldberg interfere in the Jey Uso match and cost Gunther the match, and then have Jey retain the match, and then set up the match like that. That is how I would have booked the match. That's what I would have done. That's exactly what I would have done. I would have had him come out there, distract Gunther, and he was taking off his ball, and Jey Uso rolled him up, and we had a retainment, a very easy retainment. And then the next night on Raw, have Gunther call out Goldberg, and then set the match up at Saturday night's main event. That's what you should have done. That's the correct way to do it.
I
That's the
agree.
correct booking way.
I agree.
That is how I would have done it. And that's how I would have booked it.
It was
And it
certainly more
would have
logical than what we got. I mean, they do the
right.
laziest, quickest, most we didn't bother thinking about how we were going to present this to the WWE universe for the last 3 or 4 weeks that we've known we were going to have Goldberg on the show. Quick, he's about to go out there. What should we have him do? Oh, just tell Gunther he's next. Like, what? Where the
See,
fuck have you been,
you
Goldberg? We haven't seen you since October of last year. And then you just
right.
waltz
So
in here and we're in the middle of June the following year and you're like, "Yeah, I think now I want my match." I'm sorry, I didn't realize. Do all the talent get to just show up whenever they want and call their own shots? You can't even walk to the ring, so why do you get that privilege? What have you done?
right, right, exactly. And like I said before, I'll say it again. The way I would have booked the match is what I just said. That's that's the way I would have booked it.
Joe Shipley
That's,
is in your chat saying he wishes Roman was the mystery man instead of Jay. Now, here's the thing. The one saving grace I'm praying we get out of all this,
oh, Joe Shipley, how's it going tonight? How's
the
it
one
going, Joe? Hit the like button.
the one
Thank you. I'm
saving
sorry,
grace
William. Go
that we
ahead.
might have from all of this is I'm pretty certain. In fact, I'd be willing to bet almost everything I own that Roman Reigns is going to be at Night of Champions in some fashion, some way, shape, or form. Roman's never
Oh,
not in Saudi Arabia, so he might not have a match, but he's definitely interfering in something. He's definitely leaving his stamp on Night of Champions. I firmly believe that.
yeah. Yeah, Joe, to be perfectly honest with you, um, Joe, to be perfectly honest with you, I'm going to answer your question here. Um, they had to put Jay Uso in that mystery spot because they owed him a receipt for doing what they did to him on Raw this past last 2 weeks ago on Raw, making him drop the title to Gunther, and that's what they did with the King and the Queen of the Ring. That's what they had to do with him because the fans were upset. The fans were upset, and they were visibly upset. And I agree with them. This was the worst booking decision I've ever seen. This was the worst booking I've ever seen of Triple
You
H.
know, and it's not like Jay Uso is the greatest in-ring worker, and I think we can agree that his whole run has been primarily based off of the popularity he's earned with the fans, and that is largely in part to the big entrance that they've given him, right? So he's got to do even more in terms of in-ring work in order to come off as a believable champion. And a lot of people already have had a problem with Jey Uso being the champion, saying that he's not great in the ring, and then you go and you have him lose the title on a random Raw after he ain't even had the belt for 2 solid months yet, just so Goldberg can get his retirement match is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, Jay only had the title for 50 days. All right, he only had the title for 50 days. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. That again, like I said before, this is the way I would have booked the match. I would have had Goldberg come out and distract him, and then rolled him up, and then called him out the next time on Raw, and then you would have had the match of Saturday Night's main event. That's what I would have done. Logically, that makes sense. This way, with
And
the
why does it have to
title,
be for a title? You
right?
didn't need Gunther to win the title just for Goldberg to come
51
out
days as world
and
champion.
challenge
Okay, thank
Gunther.
you, Jeff. Right, exactly. Jeffrey
So
said
you
it
could
was
have kept the
51.
title and you still could have done Gunther and Goldberg.
Right, exactly. But that's what that's what I said. I would have booked it like that. I would have had Gunther. I would have had Jay and Gunther in the ring. Goldberg comes out, the music hits, or you can tease with the music, and then Gunther is distracted. They roll him up, and Jay retains the title on Raw. That's what I would have done. Either bring out Goldberg to distract him, or tease the music, and then have him distracted, and then you would have had it right then and there. That's the way I would have booked the match. That's the way I would have booked it. And then
Yeah.
the next week on Raw, Gunther comes out. He's pissed. He's angry because of of what Goldberg did. Then you call him out. Then that's when you call him out, and then that's when we have the match. That makes sense. But this rigmarole about Goldberg, Gunther having a title to just take on Goldberg is ridiculous. It doesn't make sense. And it doesn't make sense because first of all, A, we all know Gunther's gonna retain. B, it's gonna be a squash. And C, it's gonna be a disaster. Triple H is gonna have big egg on his face when this match is over with. He really does. Because he came out, he's gonna have two eggs on his face. First he came on the air and says that the Ron killing situation was a work, and it wasn't. Now he's gonna have another egg on his face with this Goldberg debacle.
I misspoke earlier,
So
Earl. I was assuming that when I said Roman Reigns was going to show up at Night of Champions to probably interfere in the match, I forgot that I'm sorry, I forgot that Gunther and Goldberg is at Saturday night's main event, not at Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia. So my
right.
theory, I guess, goes out the window in that regard because
Yes.
my brain farted for a second. My fault.
Okay.
I still
It's okay.
firmly believe that Roman's going to have his leave his mark on Night of Champions.
I
I don't
wouldn't
know
care.
if he's still going to go after Seth Rollins and that championship when he comes back, or if he's going to focus on the world heavyweight title. I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised if
If I wasn't, yeah.
I don't know
Go ahead.
how would you have the match like what could they possibly do?
Yeah, he doesn't need a championship. Jeffrey agrees with your comment, Hologram.
What could they do with the outcome of Gunther versus Goldberg so that the fans don't revolt? You have
There's
Gunther
nothing.
retain, but then
You're
what was the
gonna
point?
have to. You're gonna have to,
But then what's the point
Hologram.
of the match?
Ask Triple H because this is his mess. Ask him
See, and this is why,
because
even for all the praise that Triple H deserves, he sometimes he f's up. This is an f up.
ask Triple H, Hologram, because I can't make heads or tails of it anymore. I
I
can't.
don't even know if this is on Triple H, to be honest. I think that I mean Goldberg has already had his contract signed,
Yeah,
so
but the thing is that okay. Here's the thing. According to multiple sources, and according to what I was reading all over the place, Triple H called Jey Uso. He called Gunther and he called Goldberg in a conference call. Okay. He told Jay over the conference call he wanted Jay to drop the title to Gunther. Okay. It was kind of awkward. It was kind of weird for them to ask that request, but this is what Triple H wanted. Okay. Called for it. He wanted it to happen, and that's the way he wanted to book it. Now you have a mess on your hands. Now you have a mess on your hands. You have a mess on your hands because if you make Goldberg defeat Gunther for the title, there's going to be a revolt.
A big revolt.
If you're going to make Gunther retain against Goldberg, there's going to be a little back. I see. Here's the thing: I'd rather have a little backlash than a tsunami backlash.
Yes.
If Goldberg were to win the title,
But it's dumb because if Goldberg wins, you're going to see a revolt bigger than the Cody Rhodes situation with The Rock last year. And
that's
if
why.
Gunther wins, it makes the match absolute. It makes Goldberg coming out and limping his way out to the ring, barely able to stand up on the second rope, looking like Father Time is caught up to him now, talking about, "Oh, you're next." It looks like you're next in line for the old folks home. And
Well,
from what my eyes can see, you're next in line for the cafeteria roast beef and mashed potatoes. Get in line.
that sounds good though. I hope you have a gravy. Anyway, anyway, you you like that journey.
See, and that's another thing,
It,
Jeffrey. If it's a squash match, it just makes the match absolutely
yes,
worthless and pointless.
yeah, and the match, yeah.
It's going to have to
Um,
be a squash match because otherwise Goldberg is going to either almost kill Gunther like he almost killed the Undertaker, or
they're not gonna let that happen.
right. So
No,
it's going to have to be a squash match
no.
so that Goldberg doesn't get
Um,
exposed, and you're going to have Gunther
I'm
retain so the fans don't revolt, and it's all just one big gigantic waste of time.
I'm going to say that this match is going to last 45 seconds. And that's it. That is it. That
Uh,
is it. That's it, folks. 45 to 30
you think
seconds.
Goldberg
And
is going to
that's
be okay with being told that? I don't think he is.
it's too bad. It's just way too bad. It's too bad. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. You can't go out there and tell him, oh, I want you to wrestle Gunther in 30 minutes, in 30-minute
No,
match.
no, of
That's not
course
going to
not.
happen.
No, that's
It's
not.
going you can't, and you can't wrestle him for 20 minutes.
Nope.
So what other alternative is there? What alternative is there? 30
5 minutes.
to 45 seconds. No, 30 to 45 seconds. That's it. That's it. That's it. We got to move on in the
He said
program. I'm sorry.
he's that's funny that the only two options are, or the only three options are 30 minutes, 20 minutes, or 35, 45
You
seconds.
would, yeah. Which one would you like? Which one would you like?
Oh
Because
god.
I'm the booker of the match. What would you like?
Well, we know
What
that
would you like?
Goldberg can't physically go for 20 minutes. I doubt he could go for
So
10 minutes. He might
so
have
that
5
that
minutes in him.
option, no, so that option's off the table. Then we have the 30 to 45 seconds. Which one do you want? Which
Oh
one you want?
man, I don't
I
know.
would do the 30 seconds. I do the 30 seconds just to make it look believable.
Now,
Just
and
to make
this is
it.
what else is any I haven't heard anybody talking about really. So maybe you've heard something, but is this a one-off? Is this Goldberg's
Yes.
retirement match?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So if but they haven't labeled it yet as his retirement match.
No, they haven't labeled
But they need
anything.
to,
Oh,
because that would
I don't
actually
know
make
what.
it a little bit better. If they announce it as his retirement match, then if when he loses, it's like okay, he wasn't gonna win his last match and run off with the title, right? It would make more sense if they announced it as
I
his
don't.
retirement match.
Right. I don't know what's going on here with this match. I don't know. They haven't put a label to it yet, but I'm going to put a label into it. It's squash in 30 seconds, and let's move on. Squash him in 30 minutes and 30 seconds, and then that's it. And we move on in the program because that's what it's going to be. It's going to be a squash. It's going to be a squash. I mean, they don't. He cannot last, folks. He cannot last. And all jokes aside, he can't
What's he gonna
last.
do? A spear and a jackhammer?
He have nothing in his. Okay, here's what's going to happen. All right, he's going to come down to the ring. Right. I don't know who the referee's going to be. I don't know who the referee is. So whoever the referee is, he's going to come down. Okay. He's puffing and blowing, and he's coming now. In in the yeah. That's what's gonna happen. Oh, that's exactly what's gonna happen. Um, he's banging his head on the door. He gets an aneurysm. Anyway, and then
Gashes
he
himself wide open.
right. And okay, so then he comes on. Pyro comes on. Okay, he's puffing and blowing. Okay,
Maybe he'll
okay.
hit his head so hard on the security door he'll knock himself the f out, and then the match
No, I
can't
don't. I
continue.
don't think they're gonna make him do all of that. I don't think they're
I
gonna make
don't
him
think
do
so
all of
either
that.
because he concussed
No,
himself
no.
last time he did that.
Right. Yeah, he did. So they're not gonna make him do that. So he'll come down, and now the the State Farm Arena in Atlanta, folks. The aisleway is, I would say, about 18 yards. I would say from the entrance. Okay. So he comes down the 18 yards, and by the time he gets to the last 18, he's out of breath. Okay. He gets in the ring, he's puffing and blowing, grabbing the ropes, and gets in the corner. He says, "Oh my God, that took forever." Um, so, so,
The way you
so,
nonchalantly look in the camera when you say puffing and blowing, it has me actually dead. Jeffrey's cracking up in the chat laughing too. Earl, that was funny, dude. He comes out to the ring, he's
anyway,
puffing and blowing. He gets into the
yeah,
ring.
yeah,
That was so
okay,
funny.
yeah,
Puffing and
you
blowing. Now when I see
know,
Goldberg, the next time from here till that match happens, every time we see Goldberg, I'm gonna hear you saying puffing and blowing.
yeah. So anyway, folks. Anyway. Yeah. So he's puffing and blowing. Okay. All
Actually,
right.
if WWE was smart,
Mm-hmm.
they should make a shirt of Goldberg, and that's what it should say on it: puffing and blowing.
Right. Exactly. All right, folks. All right. So he sits there and he's puffing and blowing. All right. All right. He sits there and gets in the corner. And he says to himself, "Damn, that took long to come down." Anyway, so he's puffing and blowing. Anyway, folks. Anyway, he's in the corner. Ding, the bell rang. All right. Gunther drop kicks him in the corner. More oxygen comes out of him. Now he's a crumpled mess in the corner, and he's turning purple because he needs the oxygen tank. Okay. Gunther then takes him out of the corner, puts him in a sleeper hold. He cannot continue, and that's the end of the match.
What
That's
if,
it.
because John Cena said he wants to ruin wrestling, what if John Cena were to come out and help Goldberg win?
No. Nope.
Just
Nope.
imagine that for just 2 seconds. I
Yeah,
know it's
yeah,
not
no,
going to happen, but
he'll botch that up. He'll botch that up. He'll botch that up. He'll
I can't
botch that
imagine,
up.
like, is WWE going to allow Goldberg to try to pick up Gunther off of his feet?
No, because like I said, the Iowa is age 18, so he's puffing and blowing. There's no way he can pick him up.
He's going to be blowed up already by the time he gets into
Right,
the
right, right,
ring.
right. The stomach will be contraction and in, like he's having a baby. Anyway, anyway.
Oh,
Oh,
uh,
anyway.
shit.
And that's it for the night, folks. That's it for Goldberg. That's it.
That's it for us as fans. We got more
Yeah,
weeks of Goldberg coming. We got Goldberg
yeah.
next week. We got Goldberg the week after, the week after that. We got the damn match.
Oh,
My God,
this is
man.
Jeffrey falling apart.
My God. We've got 4 weeks of insufferable Goldberg we've got to put up with for the next month.
Good, contracting. Yes, you like that. You like
Lord,
contracting.
take me now. Just snatch
Oh,
my soul right from my body, right where I stand.
God. Anyway, folks, that's it. That's it for Goldberg. That's it.
God, Goldberg.
That's
Why?
it.
And you know
That's
what?
it, folks.
When WCW was when it was really starting to peak in its stride with the whole Goldberg undefeated streak going, he was the most over thing in all of pro wrestling. I was a huge Goldberg mark for a couple of months until I realized, oh, he's just the modern day Hulk Hogan. When I realized that's what they were doing with him, then I quickly soured on Goldberg, and I have not been a fan of his since the NWO split into two factions and they had the black and white side and the red and black side. That's when I quit being a Goldberg fan. So, but it's just crazy. Like, I recognize what he brought to pro wrestling back then. He was definitely
Right.
a huge part of the Monday Night Wars and what helped get WCW over the hump
Right.
against WWE. But this is 2025, man. This dude, when he re-signed with the WWE, his son was in middle school. Okay, his son now plays college football as a grown man. Okay, Goldberg, when he had that match with Undertaker, wasn't good then. What was that? 7 years ago.
Right.
What's he gonna do now?
Mm.
What kind of move is he
Mm.
gonna pull off when he can barely
They,
walk to the ring?
I told you he won't be able to do anything in the match because he's still puffing and blowing. Oh, I already explained that. We already established that. We already established that. We
You're
already
right. You're
established.
right. My bad. My
We
bad.
already, yeah, we already established that.
You're right. You're right.
You're right. Yeah.
Puffing and
Anyway,
blowing is
folks.
crazy.
Anywho, if you will, he's gonna be buffing moment if you will. Oh my God. Anywho, yeah. What did Jeffrey say? He his son Gage as a matching tattoo like his son. Oh, okay.
Oh, you know who else has the Goldberg shoulder tattoo? Is Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker has gone on
Yes.
record as saying his favorite wrestler as a kid was Goldberg,
All right.
and that's where you see Braun Breaker's got the similar tattoo.
Well, I'm sure he'll be sitting around Gorilla watching that monitor and behind the scenes, and he's gonna look at his childhood, going,
Puffing and
wait,
blowing.
hold it, Gunther, hold it for a second, hold it, good. Ooh, that took long. Wait, before you start the map, wait, I need my inhaler.
He's gonna
Hold
have
on
to
one
bring a
second. Yeah.
towel with him to wipe his forehead every 30
I'm
seconds.
telling you something, folks. This match is gonna. It's no bueno for me. This is just. Yeah.
It's gonna be a shit show.
Hashtag puffing. Yeah. Hashtag puffing and blowing and contracting. Yeah. So
I
when
hope
that world.
because I think Saturday night's main events for the most part are usually good shows, and I fear like this is going to be the thing that distract. Sometimes in a show there's one thing that happens where the fans fixate on social media, and then the rest of whatever happened on the show goes completely by the wayside. I hope we don't have a situation where we end up at the end of Saturday night's main event only talking about some horrendous botch of Goldberg, and we're not talking about none of the rest of the show.
Right. Yeah. So let's hope that does not come to fruition. Let's just hope that does not come to fruition. All right. All right, folks. All right, folks. That is going to do it for the wrestling experience. That is going to put a bow on this show. I want to thank Hula for coming on tonight. We had a great conversation about wrestling, and we gave it to you, ladies and gentlemen, everybody's business. If you want to see the encore presentation of this show or any show that I've done, all of my wrestling content, all you gotta do, folks, is go on my YouTube channel and go rewind it and relive and replay, and you can be part of it all. Because if you miss a day, you miss a lot here on the wrestling experience. And Hula again, thank you so much for your time and energy. I greatly appreciate you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My computer just literally shut StreamYard down. I cannot see myself or you. If you can still see me and hear me,
Yes,
thank you
I
so much.
can.
I literally just watched my screen flash about 300 times in rapid succession, and then it put me on a completely different screen. So, thank you for having me as always. I'm sorry I couldn't make the show last week. I was ready and willing, and I don't remember what had happened. And then by the time I realized what was going on, I had texted you or whatever. But I think by the time you had seen my tweet or my text, it was already too late. So I'm sorry about whatever happened last week. But thanks
Oh,
again
was
for
it?
having me.
No, no problem. No problem. I
I was
had
bummed
fun
too
with
because I
you.
wanted to talk about our predictions because we had made the predictions for Money in the Bank and stuff, and
Yes, we did. Yeah, we I talked about that last week, and yeah, we had fun talking about both shows, and it was great. So this was great too. This was great too. I had a lot of fun tonight with you, and I'm going to ask you to come back because we're going to predict the night of champions, and we're going to predict Saturday night's main event. So we're going to do that. We're going to do that very soon, and I will let you know when I'll be doing that accordingly. So, folks, that's going to do it for the wrestling experience. I want to thank you all for watching. Now tomorrow night we're gonna have Friday Night SmackDown. Friday Night SmackDown will be live tomorrow night, and the King and the Queen of the Ring tournament is Oscar is going to be on SmackDown tomorrow night. Oscar is going to be on SmackDown tomorrow night, and she's going to be a part of the King and the Queen of the tournament. We also going to have Ron Killings taking on John Cena tomorrow night on Friday Night SmackDown. So it's going to be an explosive SmackDown to say none the least, and I can't wait to watch it. Now, I will be streaming SmackDown tomorrow night. I have the night off, but I will be back. I will be back in cyberspace again with you on Monday night when I bring you Monday Night Raw. I will bring you Monday Night Raw. We will Netflix and chill together with Monday Night Raw. So that will happen on Monday night. But until then, everyone, thank you all so much for watching the wrestling experience. For Hula Grim and all of our folks here in the chat, I want to thank you for watching and have a safe weekend. Hula Grim, enjoy your weekend. And
thank you, sir.
you're welcome. And I will be in touch with you. And ladies and gentlemen, that's it. That is it. Have a great night, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. I'm Earl Cole. Have a great weekend, everyone. And I'll see you Monday for Monday Night Raw.